So now, after dealing with the section wise breakdown, now we'll be dealing with section 1. Section 1 is 1 to 5. Lord's activities with respect to the creation of the material cosmos. Now when Lord's activities with respect to the creation, the text 1 says Lord first takes the form of Karano Dakshay Vishnu. So it says, I'll read this. In the beginning of creation, Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation. That is the translation. So the first Purusha incarnation. Now when he takes the first Purusha incarnation, or the incarnation for the purpose of creation, and from the first Purusha incarnation, what is created is all the ingredients for material creation are created. So that is mentioned in text 1, all ingredients for material creation. Now once that takes place, then after that all these ingredients are assembled in different universes. And then within each universe, there are many universes from each of the pores of the first Purusha. Then each of these universe, Lord enters, the first Purusha incarnates as the second Purusha, who lies down in the waters of each universe. And then, so this is like the second verse which explains that. Yasyam basi shayanasya yoga nidram vitanvati nabi hrida ambujat. And from this second Purusha, what happens from his nabhi, from his navel, a lotus appears. And on that lotus, Brahmaji takes birth. And on this lotus stem, 14 planetary systems are created in the universe. So different planetary systems lie on the stem of this lotus, which comes out of the navel of the second Purusha. Now it is explained in the text 3 that all these planetary systems are situated on the extensive body of the Purusha. But then the point which is explained is the body of the Purusha is transcendental. It is mentioned it is transcendental par excellence, transcendental. It is not, the body of the Purusha is not material. But then Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, I'll just read this, the conception of the Virat Rupa or Vishwa Rupa of the Supreme Absolute Truth is especially meant for the neophyte who can hardly think of the transcendental form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the first line of the purport of text 3. So body of the Purusha is transcendental, but that body expands in the material creation in the form of planetary systems. And a neophyte who cannot understand the transcendental body, for him a conception is given that this existence of planetary systems is the body of the Supreme Lord. So when they think that the existence of the planetary systems is the body of the Supreme Lord, that imaginary conception is given because they are not able to understand the transcendental body of the Purusha, of the Supreme Lord. So they are told to imagine the planetary systems in the form of Virat Rupa. That is called as Virat Rupa. Now this Virat Rupa is basically imagining the whole creation as the body of the Lord. This is an imaginary conception for a neophyte who is not purified enough. Now, since this is an imaginary conception for a neophyte who cannot appreciate a transcendental form, then the fourth verse says, now the fourth verse talks about the devotees with their perfect eyes see the transcendental form. So the transcendental form can be appreciated by devotees. Only devotees, so one has to practice devotional service, then only one qualify. Like many other chapters, this point is again repeated here. And the fifth point says, this Purusha form of the Lord is the source of various incarnations in material cosmos. Now many incarnations, the Lord personally takes the responsibility. So all these incarnations, it is a responsibility. Lord personally takes the responsibility to reclaim all the fallen souls in the material world back home, back to Godhead. Just like in the text in chapter 2 or chapter 1, one of the question was why Krishna appears in this world as son of Vasudeva and Devaki. And chapter 2 it was mentioned that Lord comes to reclaim the souls back home, back to Godhead. So when Lord has to come to reclaim, He plays various kinds of roles, various kinds of forms He takes. Let us look at this. Next section, which is text 6 to text 25, talks about various kinds of faith. Sometimes He comes as Kumaras to perform exemplary penance, as celibates took the vow of celibacy. Sometimes He comes as unique forms like Narasimha. Sometimes He does the job of lifting the earth as Varha. So various incarnations are mentioned. And then sometimes He comes in the species like of fish, like Matsya. So it was also mentioned in chapter 2 at the end. The Lord comes in all the different kinds of species. And since Lord comes in different species, all these samples are mentioned here. All the examples are mentioned here. And after all the examples are mentioned, even Kurma as tortoise. And like this, so-called then finally in the human species as Lord Ram. And then He comes also as Krishna and Balaram. This is mentioned in 19th and 20th verses that He comes as these two beautiful supreme forms. And like that, it continues further down to text 25, saying that Lord has many forms. Only few are mentioned here. Just like many rivers come out of a huge reservoir of water, so many forms come out. Now Krishna and Balaram are mentioned in the list of incarnations. And after giving the whole thing, then it goes to section 3. And section 3, certain conclusive facts are mentioned about incarnations, how there are multiple incarnations. But in 1.3.28, this is one point, this is first canto, 3rd chapter 28, which is a part of section 3 of 3rd chapter, which is from 26 till 28th. In this section, rather I would say 29, this is section 6, section 3. So in this third section, specifically this verse establishes the supremacy of Sri Krishna. This is a very important verse. In fact, Srila Jiva Goswami in his Krishna Sandarbha, out of his 6 presentations or Sandarbhas in the Krishna Sandarbha, he specifically establishes the Krishna supremacy as Swayam Bhagavan, the original form of the personality of Godhead. Swayam means original, himself. Because first, Srila Jiva Goswami in his Tattva Sandarbha establishes the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam as the ultimate proof. And after establishing that, he establishes the superiority of Bhagavan realization, our Paramatma and Brahma. But after establishing Bhagavan realization as the supreme, out of all the incarnations of Bhagavan, finally he establishes Shri Krishna and not any other incarnations as Swayam Bhagavan. And he specifically uses this verse. Let us look into this verse now. So now we will study text 1.3.28. Hare Krishna.